Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suiswiki. Coming up,
a beautiful, beautiful man who walked in spaces that not many Pasifika did.
Music producer remembered as a humble leader. Also, Bougainville's Kawana says he'll win presidency, and
for the first time in a long time, we were able to bring all our people together for a long-awaited reunion.
The Cook Islands gear up for their 60th celebrations. Tributes are flowing for one of the founders of iconic New Zealand band Fat Freddy's Drop, Chris Whaiumu, following his sudden death. More widely known as Mu and DJ Fichi, Chris Whaiumu was the man behind the Wellington band's signature sound.
We are the midnight marauders. Oh, we are the midnight marauders. Placing your border. Oh.
Christopher Ta'alonga Whaiumu grew up in Wainuiomata, a child of Samoan parents. Fat Freddy's Drop are one of the most successful bands to come out of Aotearoa, touring internationally and with massive popularity overseas. I spoke with Solomon Smith, the co-director of the Orchard Arts and a friend to Chris Whaiumu. Hey, talofa lava Solomon. First of all, how did you hear about the news of Chris's death and what was your reaction?
I just read it online this morning after my first meeting. I opened up my phone and seen on Facebook it popped up, and my initial reaction is it brought tears to my eyes. Just real sadness. Mu, like a beautiful, beautiful man who walked in spaces that not many Pasifika did. So, you know, for me, I look to him as a real leader, working especially in that sort of that dub space where there isn't as many Pasifika, and you know, to be known around the world, to tour around the world, that sort of thing, in a space that isn't kind of recognised as having as many Pasifika. Yeah.
It sounds like he was a trailblazer.
Oh man, he totally was. He totally was. And the cool thing about Mu is that anybody and everybody knew him or knew of him. You know, and it was the stories are always consistent. I only recently got to know him through the recording that we did with him. But it was always the same. He's a humble man. He's lovely. He's hospitable. He's quiet. You know, and there's so many dimensions to who he is as a person.
What sort of impact did he have on your personal or professional life?
So we interacted with him through, with the Orchard. We created Mike Manilao and myself, we wrote a song called Burn, and it's the first single of from our organisation, The Orchard. And somehow it got to Mu, and Mu said, hey, come up to Wellington and come record it, you know, we'll do some things with it. And so that was the first interaction that happened. And so over the space of 10 years, we were coming and going to Wellington to record and touch things up. And so, yeah, the impact for that was again, seeing this beautiful man, this beautiful giant of a man who was Samoan, just really like take a track like the one that we created and create a masterpiece out of it, but also honour us by having such a big part of us in it, but also having a part of him in it. So for us, that real legacy that he's left, he's actually gifted us a legacy. A piece of Mu is in a piece of a collaboration that we've been able to do.
As well as being a trailblazer, and he's well known as the man that founded Fat Freddy's Drop, what do you think made him stood out in the music industry here in Aotearoa?
I think, as you know, our Pacific community is placed everywhere around the place, and I think, you know, him being a Wainuiomata Samoan, like you know, not in the traditional places that we kind of talk about, like your Otaras or your Poriroas. Like I think that diversity to which he would have grown up with quite a Māori community. I think that would have helped to grow Mu into who he was, and open his eyes to more diverse and kind of see Pacific as something that's not just what we know of as in the reggae, rap, and R&B.
Can you remember the last conversation you had with him? What did he say?
Oh, the last conversation we had, we were just kind of having that moment of, oh man, we've finished, we've finally finished Burn, and we were just so happy to just to kind of think about what was going to happen. You know, at the same time, acknowledging like his mastery. We were going to tell him what he should do with the track. We were just looking forward to it, just saying, you know, we're looking forward to hearing what you're going to do with it, because we also know that Moo's not one of those producers that works with everybody, and so we knew an opportunity that we had was pretty special. So we knew that whatever he was going to do was going to be uniquely his.
Hey, thank you so much, Solomon, for your time. That's the end of our Talanoa, but is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Just big love to the Moose family. You know, he's impacted us, and we've had, you know, like even at the biggest relationship or the deepest, but if this is how he's impacted us in Christchurch, I could only imagine the story that his family are going through right now, his family and friends and back in Wellington. So just big love to them, and thank you for gifting Moon to the world.
Sam Kawana is a former leader of the Bougainville Revolutionary Army who wants to become president of the autonomous Papua New Guinea region. Bougainville is immersed in political campaigning as it prepares to choose 46 MPs from 404 candidates in elections in the first week of September. 7 are contesting the presidency, including Sam Kawana and his former colleague in the BRA, the incumbent president Ishmael Toruama. Mr. Kawana, who styles himself as General Kawana, in recent years has been more focused on developing a potential new gold mine, but now he wants the presidency. He stood unsuccessfully in 2020, but in 2025 he told Don Wiseman he's brimming with confidence.
This time I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the seat. I'm going to win. I am confident.
Why, given that you didn't do that well last time?
Because the government for the last 5 years did not achieve what Bougainvilleans, what we wanted. They were concentrating on one option only. That's why we wasted the last 5 years and we did not achieve anything.
And we're talking here about independence.
Oh yes, that's the only agenda for Bougainville, independence. There are many approaches that we can consider. One, there is an option in which we can work with Papua New Guinea, and there's an option that we negotiate. You know, it varies. So this government, they went for the option of negotiating for the ratification. They did not achieve what Bougainville wanted.
Well, what do you think they should have done, and what would you do?
Well, to me, I would go to exercising those powers and functions that would make Bougainville realize its independence. Meaning to say, those powers and functions that concern sovereignty protection, sovereignty rights. Exercising those powers, Bougainville can be able to reach a destiny by exercising the powers of foreign affairs, currency, number 2, and number 3, exercising the powers to protect ourselves, security, defense in the peace process. Those powers and functions were reserved for Papua New Guinea. We were not independent at that time, but after referendum, people voted not for autonomy to be with Papua New Guinea, but they voted to become independent on their own, exercising the sovereign right. So it means that with the referendum achieving independence, the door to exercising those rights, sovereign rights, was open. It was open. It was closed during the peace process. When it was open, we should have put into policies necessary functions. For example, the defense. You see, Bougainville is not protected. We are not protected at this point of time. There is fatal incidents happening south to north. So we need to exercise that power of security, meaning to say establishing defense, establishing police, powers and functions, protecting our people, our natural resources, our sea boundaries, of course, together with Papua New Guinea. Whatever we do, we have to consult with Papua New Guinea and establish those functions. Currency, another function that we should be able to now establish our own banks, establish currency, so that we can be able to achieve the level of independence.
So you're not talking about making a unilateral declaration or anything like that. You're still talking about negotiating a solution with Port Moresby.
Not negotiating, but coming up with a plan, a strategy that would accommodate Papua New Guinea to participate. When accommodating Papua New Guinea, you see, we need to think about Papua New Guinea like we are on one side. There is still a common enemy out there. The common enemy is BCL, CRA, Rio Tinto, using the system, and then they subjugated us with all their system, the laws. And here, when we come up with a plan of exercising our rights, Papua New Guinea is part and parcel of that. We need to compensate Papua New Guinea. We need to support Papua New Guinea also in their economy, which was incurred during the crisis, conflict. They borrowed so much funding, so we should be sharing.
What you're talking about still is negotiation, isn't it? Bougainville can't do these things you're talking about unless it reaches some sort of a deal with Papua New Guinea. And it's going to need the money.
Well, oh yes, that's right, correct. We need money. We need money. And Bougainville is full of resources. We are rich in natural resources. But how we manage our resources is a different dimension this time. Before we were under all those colonial laws, and when we are free now, we should be able to come up with the laws to protect our natural resources and use it wisely together with whoever investor that comes in. But here, I'm trying to say not so much negotiation, but it's a plan that Bougainville needs to do, and that plan has to be user-friendly with Papua New Guinea. And of course, for us, we have won it. We have won the political battle, and we need to set a way. We need to have a compass that we need to navigate with, and that compass, we Bougainvillians, we have it in our hands, and that has to be a user-friendly direction that we plot out. That Papua New Guinea will have to be drawn in, will have to participate in that. Yes, to a level it is negotiating, but it is like, we have to lead the way. We have to come up with that plan, a user-friendly, not just for Papua New Guinea, let me say that, user-friendly to our Pacific countries, our neighbors, Australia, New Zealand. In terms of security, we will have to make sure that we secure our region together, not just Bougainville, together with the countries that are around us. That's why we need a defense force that is not really big, but enough to protect its internal affairs, internal issues.
The Cook Islands Pa Inua or Outer Islands are emptying out as people make the pilgrimage to Rarotonga for Constitution celebrations. This year is particularly significant with the 4th of August marking 60 years of the Cook Islands being in free association with New Zealand. Caleb Fotheringham has more.
Cook Islands Secretary of Culture Emil Kairoa says this year's annual Constitution celebrations, called Te Maiva Nui, is going to be huge.
For the first time in a long time, we were able to bring all our people together for a long-awaited reunion. From discussions with the teams that have already arrived, there's only a handful of people that's been left on each of our outer islands. So basically, the outer islands have been emptied out.
Over 900 people were making the trip to Rarotonga from the country's outer islands, which is spread across an area similar to the size of Mexico. Cook Islands News reports the government has allocated $4.1 million for the event transport. Mr. Kairoa says Te Maiva Nui is the biggest event on the Cook Islands calendar.
Te Maiva Nui has become an iconic event for the Cook Islands, for the nation, as well as the diaspora.
It starts in a week and lasts 12 days, with the 4th of August marking 60 years of the Cook Islands being in free association with New Zealand. The previous event this size would have been in 2015 when 50 years was marked. Former New Zealand Prime Minister Sir John Key made an appearance.
It's a great privilege to be here with you today to celebrate what is a significant milestone for both of our countries.
Mr. Kairoa says for many people it will be the first time visiting Rarotonga since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
60 years looks like it's going to be a lot bigger than 50 for a number of reasons, because we've had that big gap since COVID hit that we have not had our families back in Rarotonga. I guess if we liken it to COVID, it's like the borders being lifted.
Two ships, one from Tonga and the other from Tuvalu, are tasked with transporting people from the northern group, while E Rarotonga is tasked with getting people from the southern group. General Manager Sarah Moreland says Te Maivanui comes during the peak of the tourism season, making July a very busy month.
We've got about 73 people coming from Mauke, 76 passengers from Mangaia, 88 from Aitutaki, 77 from Achu, and even 50 coming from the small island of Mitiaro Nukuroa.
Despite being full on, it's a highlight for staff.
They love it. I think it's so cool that we get to bring the pa inua from the islands. They just come to Rarotonga. They bring a whole different vibe. They're so energetic. They're ready for the competition. It just adds to the buzz of the whole Te Maivanui. It's actually awesome. I mean, it's busy, but we know July every year is busy, and it's a fun month.
The executive officer of Achu, Taora Brown, says 2 months of preparation has gone into the performances, which represents the growth of the nation over the past 60 years.
It's an exciting time, we come together, so we're meeting all our cousins and meeting all the families from all the other islands, our sister islands. It's a special moment.
Food is another big part of the celebration, an area that Mr. Brown says has sparked a bit of friendly competition between the islands. Pigs, taro and chicken have all been sent to Rarotonga from Achu.
Everyone likes to think they've got the best dish, but the food, it's all, I feel it's all the same, the island foods. It's just how the time that you put in it.
In the backdrop of celebrations, the Cook Islands and New Zealand's relationship is in a turbulent period. Last month, New Zealand paused nearly $20 million in development assistance funding to the nation, citing a lack of consultation over several controversial deals with China. Unlike the 50th celebrations, New Zealand's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister are not attending, with the Governor-General going instead. A spokesperson for the Cook Islands Office of the Prime Minister says officials from the country have reconfirmed their commitment to restore mutual trust with New Zealand in a meeting last Thursday.
In Tokelau, community leaders are working through a number of critical issues and proposals at the second General Whono or Parliamentary Session of the year. Tokelau is a non-self-governing territory of New Zealand and receives an annual budget of 15 million New Zealand dollars. Lydia Lewis has more.
Annual budget talks are underway. They're looking at expenditure reports, proposed new budget structures and the Village and National Department funding allocation model. Atahu Haipule Kelihiano Kalolo is there.
Tomorrow
we will start discussions with the Finance Committee, which will probably be the beginning topic. The main discussions for this meeting are about the allocation of funds between atolls and departments.
Advisor to the Atahu Haipule, Fatu Tauafiafi, says legal and administrative reforms are in the works too, including proposed changes to election rules, reviews of public service allowances and the status of the legal unit. Infrastructure projects being looked into include renewable energy initiatives and the compulsory dry docking of the MV Mataliki, the ship that serves as a vital lifeline to the wider world, with no air service just yet for Tokelau. Proposals to relocate Apia-based government services to Tokelau are also on the table, one of many attempts since the first one in 1988. The General Whono is being held on the Uluo Tokelau or titular head, e se rā hoho Tuisano's atoll, Hakoho.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.